then reload. That's all you have to do. So if we go back here, if right now if we run this, it's not going to change to sign out because we haven't created this page. AJAX is not able to send any information to a proper predefined PHP page, and the AJAX is not going to fully run. So before we demo anything out, I'm just going to create a quick PHP page, call it signinOut.php, and now if we come back to our demo page, just going to refresh this all, type in a random username, sign in, and it says welcome stuff. And then it has our sign out button, which basically refreshes the page. So if I sign in, then I haven't formatted the link, so I have to do that right now. But if I sign out, if I click on it, basically refreshes the page and I'm all signed out again. So right now I'm just going to go back to our CSS page. I'll just give some formatting to that sign out button right there. So I'm just going to say sign in and out here, and at sign out I basically wanted to give it a font of 14 pixels, Arial sans serif, color of blue, text decoration is none, margin left of 8 pixels, and when it's hovered over, I just wanted to give it a text decoration of underline. So if we go back to our lovely page, sign in, I think I typed something wrong. Whoops, I forgot to include a hover here. So if I go back here, refresh the page, sign in. Now if I hover, it's the sign out. Then I think I might want to include a cursor of pointer. Refresh the page, sign in, sign out, there you go. Now I refresh the page and everything is working perfectly. Now that we've done the basic front end portion for the username, we want to actually store the username into our database. So before we the first thing we have to do in order to do that is actually create the database, which we haven't yet. So I'm just going to go to my local host. I'm personally using XAMPP, but you can, as long as you're using anything that has phpMyAdmin. I'm not actually using XAMPP to do it. I'm using the phpMyAdmin software to do it. So go to where your phpMyAdmin is, and in my databases, I'm going to create a new database. I'm going to call it chat3. And inside here, I'm going to create a new table called users. And the number of fields, make it 3. And in the first field, I want it to be ID. Second field, I want it to be username. And third field, I want it to be join date. 11 characters, varchar 20 characters. And I want this to be the primary and auto increment. That's pretty much all I need. So I'm going to save this. And now that's that's all done, I'm going to work on my signinOut.php file. So probably the first thing I want to do is make a database connection. So cn is equal to let's see what I did. MySQL connect, and at my private server it's localhost. Username is root. Then password, I have null right now, so that's just for me. You better put whatever you have set your XAMPP or WAMP to. And if that doesn't work out, have a brief error message saying unable to connect to server. And I'm just going to say connect to the specific database. So MySQL select database. And the name of the database is chat3. So now that we've have that all said and done, I'm going to also create a protect.php file, or a function. I'm just going to create a function first here that's going to basically prevent any hacking through the chat box or any malignant MySQL injections that a user might try and hack your site with. So I'm just going to create a quick protect function. I've heard this. I've got this from the YouTube user at PHP Academy. He happens to use this a lot in some of his tutorials, but some web developers told me that this is actually not a good way to use it. But it's better than nothing. I'm still learning, and this is just a good example way to do it. So I'm going to include it here anyways. So I'm going to call this protect function. And first thing I'm going to do is trim it to remove any unwanted spaces. Then I'm going to get rid of any slashes that can potentially make apostrophes or quotations to insert PHP or HTML. Then I want to get rid of any possible HTMLs that's being run through, so HTML entities, ENT quotes, then finally if there's non-string elements, change it back to string. So MySQL real escape string. And then finally return v, or the variable. And before we move on, I'm actually going to organize this into separate PHP files. And for the top portion here, and the basic reason I'm doing this is so that I don't have to type the same thing over and over again. So I'm just going to cut that from this page, paste that in a new one, or paste that right there, and call that cn.php. And in this page I'm going to require once cn.php. I'm also going to cut this portion, create a new PHP file, and call this protect.php, and also require once protect.php. Okay, and now we're going to actually, now that we have our database set up, we're going to go ahead and insert some information into it. So first things first, we're going to retrieve the information from our JavaScript file. So protect, then we use the method post. So I'm just going to say post here, and username. And then I also want to include the join date, so time is going to go right over here. SQL for the information injection into our database is going to be insert into the database called users. into the columns username and then join date. I want to insert the values of username and also the value of the current time for the join date. Then I want to run this SQL. So result is going to equal to MySQL query and there you have it. Now if we go back, so that's basically all you need for this PHP page. It's fairly simple. If you go back to our little chat box, or if I go back here, if I go under users, right now it's empty. There's no data in it. If I say Dino sign in, then it says welcome Dino, sign out. And not only that, if I go back here, refresh this page, go back here to chat 3 users, and actually it's not working. So let's see what we did incorrectly. Well, the first thing I might want to check is if our AJAX function is running, and the answer to that is yes, it is running. And then let's see, let's, instead of saying get it from our correct files, let's just type in some random information, see if there's a bug with our PHP file. So if I go back to our chat box, refresh, say Dino again, sign in. If I refresh this page, it's not loading. Okay, so let's see. So the sign in out to the PHP file is actually not running. So if I go in here, sign in out .php. You know what? Let's test our AJAX function too, just in case. I'm just going to say window alerts. So what I'm demonstrating here is some standard debugging methods, and this is how you basically debug code that's not working properly. So if I save that, go back to our chat box, refresh the page, and type in some random username, it's saying hi. So our AJAX function is working properly. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Sign in out .php. Wonder if I made a typo in our file name. So if I go here, sign in out .js, alright, and then sign in out .php. Yeah, there's not anything wrong with that. Okay, so I did say insert into users. Let's see if I got the correct table names. So if I go here, yes, users is the correct table name that I have. And username and join date. That should be all correct. Result equals to MySQL query and then SQL connect. So let's so the next thing I want to try is actually go to the PHP page. So I'm going to go sign in out.php, and it says call to undefined function strip slashes. Okay, so I made a type in my protect.php file that's causing the error. So if I go here, I type s back in, And it says undefined username. Of course, that's because I typed the URL in instead of using the AJAX function. So if I go back to our page, refresh this, and if I type in a name, sign in. Now if I refresh this page, it's going to have that default information. It should say ASDF and 1234 somewhere. So if I go back here, check it, ASDF 1234. So that's all good. So now I'm going to put back in the proper information that should be going in there. And if I refresh this page, type in Dino, sign in, go back here, go back to that table. It says Dino and the current time that this user joined. So that's all working properly now. And I'll be right back from a water break. Okay, so I'm back from my water break, and it's going almost an hour long, so I had to get some water. And yeah, so we've left off where I've successfully typed the username in I want, and then it's registering inside the database. The next step that we want to do is probably be able to do the same thing for this new message box. So we type in a new message, send it, and it gets registered in the database. So now we're going to create a new table. I'm going to name this messages, really simple. And I'm going to create 4 fields. And the first one is going to be an ID. Next one is username, so the user who posts the message. Third one is going to be message content, and the last and fourth one is going to be message time, so the time at which the message was created. So 11 varchar 20 message content is going to be text, message time 11, auto increment, primary, and that's pretty much all I need. So save that. I have my new table here. And I'm going to make a similar JavaScript and PHP file for the message box, just like I did for the username box. So I'm going to basically create a new JavaScript file. I'm going to call it send message.js. And I'm going to create a function that will load as soon as the page is ready. And the first thing I want to do is when I click on this box, I want this to clear out. So I'm going to say click, then function inside that. So when the new message box area is clicked, I want that area to be blank. So I'm just going to put some standard DOM elements here. Make that blank. So if I go back to our page, actually I have to include this in our main PHP page. So I'm going to say script source JavaScript send message.js type. Okay, so that should do the trick. And If I refresh the page here, log in, now if I click there you go. It becomes blank. So I'm going to go back to my sendMessage.js file. Now that it's blank, I want another function to send the message, send the typed message when the send button is clicked. So once again, on click, I want a new function to be run. So new message send, and I'm going to create a new variable. Username is basically going to be the HTML that's contained in the specific span tag we created earlier, and it's going to have an ID of logged user, and that's going to be our username, and the message is going to be the value that's in that specific text area, and that text area has a ID of new message content. So once we have done that, I'm going to create another if and else statement saying that if the message is blank, then don't send anything in. So if the message variable has nothing in it, or if the message area has the default text in it, which is enter your message here, we want it to return false, just like we did for the username area. And now we're going to go ahead and start creating our AJAX function. So first things first, our data string is this time going to send two variables. The first one is username is equal to plus username, and then the message and then let's get to our AJAX area. Type, the type of transaction is going to be post. The URL is going to be send message.php. The data is going to be data string, and upon success, I want this following function to be run. Document new message content, value to be once again blank, so you can type in your next message. So if you go back here, sign in, type a new message, send, it's not going blank because it's not returning success, and the reason of that for that is, of course, we haven't created the send message.php file. So let's do that right now. Send message.php, and now if we relog in, type random message, send, it should go blank, send, and there you go, it's blank. So now that we know the PHP file is being correctly run, we have to actually make it interpret the data, make the PHP file to inject the new variable information to the database table. So in our send message.php file, first is require once, and then cn.php, then require once protect.php. And I'm just going to go see what I did before. So once you've done that, first we want to create a new variable. a PHP variable that's going to interpret the received JavaScript variables. So username is equal to protect post username, then time is equal to time, and then we're going to insert the information into the table, or actually I forgot to get the get the message. So message is also equal to protect message, and then insert that into the table messages. Username, message content, and message time. And we want to insert the specific values of username, message, and finally the time. And let's go ahead and run this SQL. And if let's go to our messages table, which is at the moment blank, and if we go back here, type a new name, then let's say first message, and send, and if we refresh this page or the messages table, we have nothing up here. So what I'm going to do is basically go to this specific PHP page, say send message.php, see what kind of errors we get. Undefined message, unknown column. Okay, so I made a typo for the column name. So this should be that, message time. So okay, there you go. Now if we go back here, sign into a random username, ASDF, and if we go back to our table, we have our first random username and our first message, ASDF, along with the message time. So now that we have done all that and everything is registering correctly into the database, we have to have a method of pulling the information out from the database and displaying it onto the message log, or the middle section here, in real time. So before we get to the real time thing, where it's auto refreshing every half second, let's just first be able to show the data here first. And in order to do that, I'm going to create a new PHP file. And I'm going to call this, whoops, I got some hiccups here. I'm going to call this display messages.php. So display messages.php. So save that. And I'm going to require once cn.php. And right now I'm going to say I want all the messages from 5 minutes ago to display. So a variable called 5 minutes ago. And that's going to be time minus 600 seconds. Create an SQL query to retrieve all the past posts from the past 5 minutes. So I'm going to say select username, message content, message time from the table messages where the message time is greater than 5 minutes ago. And of course I want to order this by the message time. So order by message time. And now if I say result is equal to MySQL query SQL CN, whoops, I still got my hiccups, sorry, I'm so bad. I think they're gone now. So SQL, no they're not. Just bear with me. I'll get rid of my hiccups in one moment. 1 second. Okay, so just getting back here, I'm just going to finish this portion of the code. Die MySQL error, and then the error message if needed. And now that we've run the query and we've retrieved it, we have to actually display it. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a quick while statement. And here I'm going to say row is going to equal to MySQL fetch associative array result. And of course I'm going to display what time the message was written, so hours and minutes as our new variable is going to equal to date, and I'm just going to format the date. And message time. So that's the variable, and that's the format that I want the retrieved time to be displayed in. And once I've gotten that, I'm going to echo everything out. So in a paragraph tag, in bold, I'm going to type in the user's name. Username. And in italics, I'm going to type in brackets the current time. So that's hours and minutes, the variable. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a space right here. And display the actual message. Which is message content. So now that I have all that done, if I actually refresh the page, okay, so actually I'm going to first of all go back to our chat.php page and delete this. And in fact, the way we're actually going to load this is through JavaScript. I'm going to use JavaScript and make a set interval function to say update this div with display underscore messages.php file every half second. So what I'm actually going to do is create a new JavaScript page or JavaScript, and just going to link it here first. I'm going to call it refresh message log.js. Type is of course text and JavaScript. And let's go ahead and create that little JavaScript page. So I'm going to save this as refresh message lock.js. And it's going to be very simple. All we're going to do is say set interval and function, and we want to use the jQuery's load function, and the div we want to constantly update is the main one with the class of main, and we want to load it with the PHP page display underscore messages dot php. And of course we want to do this every half second, so I'm just going to say 500 here. And now if you refresh the page, of course it's blank right now. I'm going to sign in with a random name, type in ASDF, send, and there you go, we have our first message. It's 5:30 a.m. Actually, that's not the correct time. I just did a reinstall on my XAMPP server. That's not the real time, but it says 5:30 a.m. It shows the time. It shows the username. It shows the correct information. If I type in another message, there you go. It updates once again. Now, if I open up a new browser, go to the same page, and let's say I'm Dino again, and say yo send, and it updates in both browsers. So that's we're almost done. One thing I want to add though is if I have a lot of messages, and let's see, I'm just typing in a bunch of messages here, and it's overflowing. Right now it's not really going to the bottom like a normal chat box should. So how we do that is by saying change the scroll height to the height of the div on each refresh. So we say get the attribute of height for the div main, and and go to scroll top and we want to get want the scroll from the top to be the height of this div. So basically main and then attribute of scroll height. So if we go there, now if we refresh the page, it automatically goes to the bottom. So I'm just going to sign in, say newest message, fine, click, it automatically scrolls to the bottom. So that's how you do it. And there is one bug here. If you use Internet Explorer, what happens is instead of actually refreshing every half a second, Internet Explorer does this weird thing where it caches the messages, and instead of refreshing to display the newest information retrieved from the server, it just displays what's stored in the cache history, so it doesn't actually update. So we want to prevent the chat box from allowing caches to be stored. So how we do that is we use the AJAX setup function. Go AJAX setup, and we just say cache false and no semicolon at the end, or it won't work. So now if you go type, refresh, sign in, enter, say my name is Apple, and here's some oranges, send. There you go, here's some oranges. So that's basically our awesome new chat application. I hope you guys learned a lot of new PHP tricks while following this tutorial. If you have any basic questions, I'm not the best support in answering questions once the tutorial is done, but if it's really obvious, I'll try and provide an answer. So I'll have the link to download all of the source code at my website. I'll give you the link to the demo page and everything. So hope you guys go through this tutorial, learn it inside out, and I'll see you guys next time.